So, apparently, this also describes how the universe was created. So this is on universe stuff. This always makes me laugh a little bit, but I'll remain as serious as possible. So, the idea that there are only two ways of this happening. One, being that God magically appeared somehow, some way, and then magically created the universe out of nothing. Currently, there's two magical things happening there that nobody can ever explain. But if you have some common sense, you know magic isn't a good explanation. But from a scientific viewpoint, there is scientific understanding through theory and experiment natural origin. But most of you Christian extremists don't and or won't think that science could come up with some explanation of the natural origin because you can't create something out of nothing. But hey, whoa, whoa, whoa! That means you cannot believe in God, because God did it too. It's like asking, it's just like saying, prove God exists. Well, prove that exists. No, you don't need proof. God is God. I don't need to prove nothing to you. But you have to prove this, this, and this. What? Anyways, you know, you can't believe what God, because God did it too. And what made God? What was before God? And who made him? I mean, God just does, you know, you go back, and you know, who made him? And before that, it becomes a non-stop asking of who made this guy and who made that before that. It's a never-ending thing when it comes from a religious standpoint. Because in religion standpoint, God magically appears out of nothing, and then God magically creates the earth out of nothing. Religion has twice the problems that scientific has, plus religion has resorted to magic to explain it. So let's give science a chance. They've already found out the origin of stars, black holes, galaxies, supernovas, and the origin of planets as well, that were all once mysterious. So let's ask, how come there isn't a scientific equation for nature making the world? But right now, scientists indeed don't have where the universe came from at this time. However, this is not knowing. This whole not knowing thing is completely normal for science. For science is all about discovery. And obviously science has not discovered everything yet. It may take several decades before completely understanding the origin of the universe. However, science will understand it eventually. That is certain. But how do we know it's certain? Because we can look back in history of science. Look back at year of 1900. Millions of people firmly believed that human beings would never fly by any means necessary. Why? Because humans never flew before and had no science to understand it. To explain the principles of flight and the science of aerodynamics have not yet been discovered at that time. But eventually, however, the inventors of science and engineering did come to the understanding of principles of flight, and then suddenly people could fly. And that's completely normal for science, because science discovers new things and opens new portals for new inventions, such as in the plane thing. The first plane was created, then a jet fighter plane was made because it opened a new portal. Such as one year we don't know something, and the next we do. And then we can apply knowledge and build on it. We can make better, bigger, better things, you know? Galaxies weren't known, and we were only thought to live in one. The idea is it's only less than 100 years old. Only when telescopes become powerful enough to see them could science discover other galaxies. DNA! 1952, no one knew the structure of DNA or how DNA worked. But in 1953, scientists unlocked the secret, and it opened up whole new branches of biology and medicine, as Christina could go on for hours about. Then the moon landing of, is another good one. 1960. If you told peeps that we'd land on the moon within a decade, they'd laugh their asses at. They'd laugh at you like no other. As much as I laugh at religious people. No human being had ever been in space, much less near the moon or the moon landing. It seemed completely impossible, and yet, 9 years later, humans took their first steps on the moon surface. The origin of the universe will work in the same way as those did. We'll search, look, study, and all that until it's found out, and the discovery will be made. And mathematics to be made, and then boom. But to say that nobody will ever find out the origin of the universe is just ignorant. It's just like saying humans will never fly by any means. Well, would you look at that? We're flying every day. Or humans will never decode DNA. Huh. Oh yeah, that's right, they already did, didn't they? On top of this, there's no scientific equation that includes the factor of God. Not one. For example, think about this equation. E equals mc squared. It's the best known nuclear power. It's best known for nuclear power plants, nuclear bombs, every star in the cosmos, and many other things in our universe. It is not the universe equal God. And if for some reason yet you think the equation or the origin of the universe equal God, then you're a complete, absolute idiot. And it's absurd. Neither science or nature work that way, and we all know it. But why do people go and say God, say God does things we don't know? Well, let's look at it. People once had no idea why the sun rises or sets. So they invented an imaginary sun god to explain it. Today, scientists understand what's going on. It has to do with the scientific principles of our planet's rotation, as well as planet's orbit around the sun. It makes perfect sense and has nothing to do with Ra, or any god for that matter. Today, nobody knows where the universe came from, so they have created some imaginary god to explain it. But science will figure it out. The same question, the same way that it's figured out all the other questions that were once unheard of or unbelievable. The fact is, the imaginary fictional created by a psycho guy way back in the day is just an imaginary as all the rain gods, sun gods, and fertility gods that people once worshipped. But I think I have made my point. Looking pretty bad, all you Christian extremists and religion people.